that? No other way for what? Good Guys Free here, and soon enough you'll know why sometimes you can't reload your weapon, how to handle all the dangers, and how to get the best freighter modules. This video is about encounters of an emergency broadcast. It usually happens when you activate an emergency signal scanner. Notice the shape of the freighter. They all look like this. The other type of encounter in space will have a floating wreck which you cannot board, where the most you can do is shoot a couple of floating containers for some loot, triggering a bunch of pirates to a space battle. And they don't look like this. No, this is about a freighter drifting in space, with unknown treasures and dangers lurking inside. It is procedurally generated, so each system has a different room layout and different loot, but it will look the same if you use another scanner. What is there to gain in these spooky space graves when sometimes we won't even be able to reload our weapon? Well, lots of units, nanites, upgrade modules, repair kits, and tainted metal. We'll see that later. We can gain standing with the local system's dominant race, and it's currently the only way to get upgrades for our own freighters. So how do we find such a derelict? We go to the scrap dealer on the space station. The first receiver will cost us 5 million units. But don't worry, it'll usually be worth more. Next receiver will be 10 million, then 20, and then 30. How do we prepare? First, make sure you have time with minimal interruptions. Derelicts are dangerous, and you cannot save your game while on the derelict freighter. It's going to be very cold, so having cold protection upgrades on your suit and dioxide or ion batteries is a must. There are also damage dangers, so having sodium is also a good idea. Make sure you have inventory space too. Now, I'm not the one who will tell you you must use a bolt caster or a neutron cannon, but I can recommend the combination I am using. Upgraded pulse spitter and plasma launcher make a nice useful combination. Let's find us a derelict freighter. Go to your signal scanner and use the interaction key to activate it. It will only start searching when you activate your ship's pulse or luminance engine. If you don't mind using exploits, you can put the active receiver into your personal refiner. It's going to say requested operation unavailable, but that's fine. When you see emergency broadcast detected, exit pulse. Fly towards this deck and wait to see the green landing circles, then engage auto landing. A quick thank you to the wonderful Assistant to NoMansSky app. See the description. We're out of the ship and there's something wrong with the gravity, so our jetpack is disabled. It's already spooky. What the heck happened? We can activate these capsules to gain some resources. These capsules can be a nuisance because when they show their interaction circle, you can't reload your weapon. If that happens, point elsewhere, then press the reload. The teleporter will become useful later. Let's turn on the heat here and collect the supply crate. Notice we get 3 repair kits. They can be very useful. When interacting with the docking bay door control, make sure you select Collect Emergency Supplies before you unseal the door. Then unseal and wait. You will usually get some projectile ammunition and more useful items. If you placed your active receiver in the personal refiner, you can already take it out the moment the doors are open or at any time later. Sometimes you enter and the first rooms are clear of dangers. You can scavenge any blue crate like this one. Use this information to know if you have been to every possible room. You can use scan mode to find emergency heaters, doors, and other things. Peek into a room to see if you find any dangers. This is an unstable canister. It will explode if it takes some damage, so stay a few feet away from it at least. Use a scan to quickly find important things in the room. Scavenge opportunities are marked in purple. Rooms are marked with either teal color or purple. Teal indicates the room is a passage. It has exits to other areas. Purple marked rooms have no exits to new areas, but can still hold loot or even important information. Let's back up a second. I suggest you pick a method to help you remember which parts of the room you've already checked, like start going in one direction, etc. I like to activate heaters when I come to them to help me keep track. I consider purple marked rooms as extensions of the room I am in, so let's explore this one. When you depressurize these canisters, you get some living slime, which can be refined into running mold, which can later be refined into nanites. Log snippets are important. One of them contains security credentials, which you will need to get the captain's log. Some of them are interesting, spooky, gruesome. If you find the credentials, you can skip reading all the rest, but reading them does provide a few nanites. You can scavenge tall containers like this and also the cases like the one resting on the counter. The plant locked in this containment can be shot at twice, giving you a bit more living slime. Going into this room, we see the first danger that sometimes appears. green, floating, tentacled, wriggling sprites don't attack you until you are really close. Their touch drains your hazard protection fast. Best to shoot them from far. Notice the purple marked lockers that fell down. They can be scavenged too. Notice the log snippet marking in the scan. And they are marked when you read them, so you know which ones you read. When you find a teleporter, reactivate it. It takes you back to the entrance room or lets you quickly travel between all activated teleporters. This is especially useful if you're running low on inventory space. You can simply jump out, offload some stuff to your starship, and go back. The teleport receiver doesn't work inside the freighter. Here's the records terminal. If you go through the dialogue, you get the crew manifest. If you leave at this point, you still get the crew manifest, and then when you re-interact and finish the sequence, you can get another copy. Can be useful later. See, this canister here can also be depressurized. Ladders are slow. If you try, you can simply fall. Here we get to the secure mainframe. To read the captain's log, we need those security credentials we got earlier. When asked about the captain's status, doesn't matter what you choose, it will let you log in using the security credentials, and you can read the captain's log. Like other log snippets, it can be interesting, creepy, weird, or intense. In the final room, we interact with the engineering console. Here we get 3 options. 1. Fabricate technology upgrade. This is an upgrade module for our own freighter, and this is the only way to get such upgrades. 2. Fabricate freighter bulkhead. This is the only way to add storage to our freighter's cargo technology slots. 3. Extract nanites, which I think is not worth it compared to the other 2 options. We got an S-class upgrade. There is a Google Sheets document with many glyph coordinates to systems where you will find S-class upgrades. Check the description. Now we go through the teleporter and we can leave this freighter, but before we go, let's take a look at other dangers. This is a turret. You can shoot it even with a weak weapon and hide until it gets deactivated, then peek and shoot again. Security bots are annoying. They hide in the ceiling and they look harmless, but their shots are effective. Entering a room, stand still and look for moving lights. Try to destroy all of them before starting to loot the room. Notice how the shield suffers from the security bots. They are not difficult, but they are far from harmless, and you should not interact with one of the terminals if there are any bots left in the room. Festering pustules are gross, but harmless. Harvesting them can be done using your weapon, but it's wasteful of ammunition. It is better to use your mining beam to harvest them, and they give living slime, which can be refined all the way to nanites. When you look at them, they say Festering Pustules Somnal Dust. This started to appear since Expedition 7 Leviathan, but you still get living slime. They can appear on the ceiling too. Dealing with horrific nests is tricky. You can walk slowly and stop when the nest is stirring. When you awaken the infestation, several hostile creatures will be birthed. The game tells you how many of them are still around, but notice that it's a proximity thing. In large rooms, you can stray far enough that the game will not detect them until you get closer or they wander closer to you. There are several good ways to deal with the creatures. During the first seconds after the nest is awakened, you can use weapons that have area damage like neutron cannon, primary, or plasma launcher, secondary. The neutron cannon is quite useful to hit many targets at once, but the creatures disperse quickly, so you lose that benefit, and firing in close quarters can hurt you too. The plasma launcher deals more damage, but the plasma balls bounce, and if not careful you can end up damaging yourself severely like happened to me here. When that happens, you can always just rush and hide in a previous room until the shield recharges, which can take 20 to 30 seconds. I like to use the pulse spitter with the amplified cartridges and the impact igniter. See how the impact igniter deals damage after the shot? And of course, keep an eye on your cold protection. Alright, it's time to go back to the station. Notice that we have 2 markers showing us where we can go. One is the local envoy. With him you can donate the crew manifest and the captain's log to gain higher standing. If you use the trick to get 2 crew manifests, go to the envoy first, donate only the crew manifest. If you choose to sell to the scrap dealer, go and do this. It nets you about 500 tainted metal, which can be refined into 1000 nanites. Tainted metal lets you buy stuff from the scrap dealer. I'll leave a link in the description where you can read all that can be bought, but I usually use tainted metal to refine into nanites. Each unit produces 2 nanites. After all is done, remember to refine the living slime into runaway mold and then to nanites. there are other things you might find. Other items of interest: hypnotic eyes can be refined into living slime. Paddle cores can be refined into nanites directly. Artifacts and other items can be sold for a good profit. As always, leave comments, and I hope you like and subscribe.